Hey guys, episode 3 of the podcast coming right up. But today we spoke about a number of different things from documentaries, Louis Theroux. What else did we speak
Red
about?
Rooster Chips. We had a chat about cartoons from our childhood, different ways you can learn stuff.
Yep.
UFC, a big fight that we just watched.
Yep.
And it was a good time all round. I finished this beer, and I don't know who it was, and I think I showed their brand the whole
Maybe, but
whole episode.
Look.
Just click it.
Click it.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be one of those guys who points. You know when you watch videos and people point? That's us now. We do that now.
Yeah, people think it's cool, don't they?
That's
It's
right.
Like you click the
And it's like,
description.
and do here, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
as if
we're
it's
that.
literally below you.
That's
you
it. That's
fucking
us now. That's us. We're a piece of clay all over again. It's crazy.
idiot. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Anyway, watch it.
Fucking, yeah, watch it. Enjoy. Lap it up.
Welcome to episode 3 of Broden and Cody Flow State. How we going, Cody, today?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Not bad. How was your weekend? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's quite good, man.
fantastic.
How was yours?
It was fantastic. I had a good time. You were there, in fact.
Yeah.
Let's get to that a little bit later. All I wanted to say is Red Rooster Chips are superior.
Really? Did you find that out over the weekend?
No. I've known it
for a
all
while.
along.
Really?
I've known it most of my life.
What makes them superior in your?
There's a few. I mean, like chips are special to me. I'm a chip connoisseur.
Yep.
As I would say, or just a chip fan. I'm a chip fiend. I love a chip.
Yep.
And one of the good things about Red Rooster chips, I don't know, it's just like the thickness is good, and no one ever goes to Red Rooster, so they're always fresh.
There's always one old man in the
Just
Red
one
Rooster.
guy. Yeah, that's right. He's normally got one nut hanging out of the side of his too short shorts.
Yeah.
But no one like it's not a popular place. So
It's not. It's so terrible.
Well, it's not terrible. It's great. Oh, it's terrible that they don't go there. Yeah.
Yeah. And the restaurants themselves, they look aesthetically terrible. It's like going back in time.
You haven't been for a little while, have you? They've done up the one in town, but
Have they really?
they have.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, you're not wrong. It's like how much Come on, get with it. Get with it. It's not.
Yeah.
This isn't Hungry Jack's for crying out loud. Let's move this thing
yeah.
on. But
Get some plants in there or something.
but no, I think it's just a strange thing that every time I go somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
the chips are shit. The chips are shit everywhere.
Really?
I mean, there's one place they changed their chips was Hungry Jack's. As I just mentioned Hungry Jack's, but they have changed their chips.
They made a big change a few years ago, didn't they?
Instead of shoestring, they've gone to slightly beefier ones,
Yeah.
and the salt and whatever they're putting on them is just like, it's very good. I don't know
Really?
why.
Mm.
It's just a shame that everything else on the menu is garbage, because it's...
Sure you're going to upset a few people saying that
Yeah,
out there.
look, you know
but
what? It's subjective. You can't burn me at the stake for having an opinion. Well, you can.
What is it that makes it garbage?
It's like grey cardboard with salt on it.
the meat is.
Yeah, the meat. It's gross.
Yeah.
But that's like any... I mean, McDonald's is the same.
McDonald's.
I loathe McDonald's.
What did you last eat, Mick? I remember you had a McRib.
I have.
It fucking nearly killed you.
When I had a McRib, this is what I was quite fit at this point. Like, this is 18 months ago, I think. I had a McRib, and I distinctly remember, you know how when you were sick or something like that, sometimes you get a visual feeling of how you feel.
Yes.
I felt like my stomach was a clear bag and a human had just laid a big shit in my stomach, and there was all this air above the poo, and it just made me feel disgusting. Like it felt like an actual rotting. Like I just frequently imagined, this, that like when a poo comes out and curls over and then drops. That's what the McRib felt like in my stomach.
It kills over.
It was disgusting because there's no lettuce or anything. It's just like this thick sugar, and I hadn't had sugar.
Is it a saucy
thick,
thing?
Very saucy.
Is that what it is? Like a barbecue sauce?
It's the thickest barbecue sauce. Oh my! It's just making me think about it. It's disgusting me. It's like, the ribs. It's kind of like.
So what made you want to go and get it?
I'd never had one.
And it come out as a special release.
Well, it did, and I remember the Simpsons Rib Witch episode. You remember that?
Yeah, the crusty burger.
And I had to have one. I'm like, I'm going to go get a Rib Witch. This is going to be funny. You know what I mean? And it made me I had the next day off. Like I was disgusted. It was.
What? I just don't understand how it could ruin your week that much.
I was like
You felt like
badly
you'd been
ill.
shitting.
Like I'd been shitting for a day and a half, and I felt like I was going to vomit. I couldn't even keep water down because I just kept spitting it back up. Like,
Oh.
It was filthy.
That's
I was
horrible.
vomiting. It was disgusting. But like, you know, McDonald's. This is that's not the last time I went to McDonald's, but it wasn't long after that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. It was in June of last year, 2019.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is because I actually didn't get a chips, and I thought I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to call them up.
You
And
called him?
I
Yeah,
did. I was like, listen, bitch. I didn't say that, but I was like, look, guys. I don't normally do this. I don't know why I felt like I had to validate it first, but I'm like, look, there's bigger problems in the world than this, but I paid you my fucking money and I want my chips. And they said, well, send you out a voucher. And I'm like, for what? For the chips, to replace the chips. And it's like, I don't want you to replace the chips. I want you to give me the chips. And you know what I mean? I paid for them. You fucked me. I've gone 20 minutes out of town to eat this shit, got home and it's not there.
Right, yeah.
And I got this just cop-out voucher for chips that I had already paid for. And get this, the voucher lasted 3 months. I didn't know this until I went to go cash it in, and it's got like, well, this finished in September, October, or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, is that illegal? Because they've just stolen money from me. Technically, they've just stolen $2.25. Fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I couldn't believe it. But like that I can literally, that is the last time I went to McDonald's. And you know, it's not like I'll never go again because the breakfast menu is the business. I mean, like,
Okay.
But at the same time, you know, it's a bit of filth anyway. Like,
Yeah.
But like back on the chips, right?
Well, what about those people that get angry at the staff? If they
Hilarious.
fucking know it?
I've been the person that they get angry at.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Any retail, like there's a 15-year-old kid
Oh yeah.
working and they're just going to town on them and
Oh,
the
yeah.
kid's like, shaking and
But
terrified.
I've been that kid, but see, the difference between me and the other 16, 15, 16-year-old kids was I didn't give a fuck and I had a big mouth. So I had this woman going sick at me, like just going sick at me. And I said, whoa, calm down. Come over here. And we've gone to the side of the counter and she's talking to me. And I said, I guess what, and I shouldn't have done this. And the boss wasn't happy with me. But I said, there's people in the world that can't afford food. There's people in the world that are dying with stomachs that are blown up from all these bugs and stuff. And you're coming in here because your crispy strips didn't have sauce. And she... And the manager was like, don't ever talk to a customer like that again.
It's true, but yeah, I can
25
understand.
cent sauce, calm down. Like,
Don't blow a gasket
Okay.
because of your store.
It's like,
sauce.
hey, I'll get you a sauce. Just wait in the fucking line. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that the kid didn't give you the sauce.
Yeah. I had a customer once when I was working in retail just come in and I was new to the job and, you know, I've done a whole bunch of things. I've been a prison officer. I've copped people abusing me and stuff in the past. And in this setting, I wasn't expecting it and it caught me off guard. And the lady was just so rude to me. She said she's obviously angry with the company I was working for, but she just had it in for me. Like I was the face of the company. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. You
And just
obviously
automatically
own-
she was swearing at me. And
Yep.
as soon as she swore at me, she goes, how about you don't fuck it up? Because every time I come in here, you fuck it up. And I just got up and pushed my chair in and just walked away
I love it.
from the situation.
Pushed my chair in angrily.
Yeah, just made sure it was a big loud bang and sort of startled them. There's a group of 3 middle-aged women.
Yeah.
And I knew for a fact I could fuck each one of them up if I wanted.
Equality punch.
Yeah, if shit hit the fan and you know one of them tried to, if it kicked off, I would have been all right. But no, I was just like, fuck you, I'm making a statement. I went out and it's like second or third day on the job. Went to the manager of the place and said, I'm not getting. They might be able to speak to some people like that and get away with it, and people put up with it, but no one speaks to me like that. I don't care.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, it's all right, that's fair. Yeah. And then
You shouldn't put up with it. Like,
no
they
one should
shouldn't
ever
do
put
it.
up with it.
Do you remember that Christmas?
No job's worth it.
And exactly that. You shouldn't have to. Did you remember there was an ad on television that said something like, to the point that the situation is so bad that the ad on television was a public announcement to tell people to be kind to retail workers. It's not their fault. That's obviously how big the problem was.
What kind of society has to remind people
Exactly.
to be fucking nice?
Just remember that you're not the most important person in the world, and some people are just trying to do their job as well.
And it's that face of the irate customer that just they could do they look at you and they roll their eyes and they're condescending fucking look on their face.
Well, you hooked the internet up, you fucking idiot. What
I'd
are
love
you
to
here
see
then?
you do this job then, fuckface.
Exactly.
Put the uniform. Here's me shirt. I wonder, like,
right.
when I was working in the jail system, there was an old guy who'd been in the job for years. He's like 75, still working there. And
Amazing.
like all the guys were giving him grief one day, and he took off the shirt, like the uniform, this prison officer uniform, and he just goes, "Any one of you fucking cunts want this? Put it on now!" And everyone just shut up. The whole cell block just shut up. And I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Was it to the prisoners?
Yeah, to the prisoners.
That's hilarious.
Because they were all like yelling out and calling him an old man.
Yeah.
He's used to it, but he just goes, "Come on, put this on." And he stripped down. And he had like a hairy, grey old man,
what a legend.
liver spotted
That's
chest.
it. Like fucking Popeye would now if he were real.
Yeah. He looked like it was very funny. It was very
Any
funny.
of you cunts want this?
Come put
Like,
it on.
That's it.
Yeah,
Because that's the thing is, it's like you might be in here for something, but do you want to fucking work here?
Yeah,
Because looking after you pricks is a hard job.
Yeah.
That's
That was
fucking
it was
hilarious.
brilliant. It was like he didn't care. He didn't give a fuck.
But it's not easy, doing jobs and working for people, and especially dealing with customers, man. That's hard work. That's not easy. That's a bad time.
It's a bad time, and you need to deal. I feel like you should be someone who can say no and mean it, and don't be afraid. Because you see so many people and you got to sort of expect it from 15, 16-year-old McDonald's, KFC employees, that their ability to say no is they can't do it.
They're easy
they
to push around. That's why they're targeted.
Yeah, and that's why and you see people that they use their life experience and their aggression to manipulate people.
Bullies.
It's like, what are you doing?
Bullies pick on people who they know can't defend themselves. Funnily enough, there's a point to get to about that really quite later on in the podcast, which we shall talk about.
Yeah.
But I'll rein us back on track for a sec because I've got some interesting things. But about the chips,
Yeah, bro, hold that.
No, this is how the podcast has gone downhill in just 3 episodes. There's different types of chips. There is sweet potato chips, thick cut chips.
You can have chicken salt.
Beer batter chips. There's like, what does that say?
Wedges.
Shoestring chips. Wedges. But I made a
All right,
chip.
guys,
I made a chip prediction, and my prediction was that they call them in like Woolworths crossroad cuts or tracks or something like that, chips, and they're like a waffle cut.
Yeah.
Have you seen those? They
I
look
have
like
seen
a
those.
double hashtag or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my prediction was that those things were going to take over. Then Carl's Jr. comes to Australia. Guess what they're packing? Waffle chips.
Yep.
And then I saw an article the other day talking about a chip platter is the new, party food. Like you cook up a bunch of different types of chips, whether it be some avocado ones, some sweet potato ones, some crinkle cut ones, and you put some different sauces out there, and that's the new party dish. I don't quite think that's the truth because chips go cold fast.
They do, yeah.
They can't stay hot, for a long time.
Yeah.
And not everyone has a deep fryer or wants to be burning oil at 190 degrees in their house. You know what I mean? And if you air fry chips, it takes 20 minutes.
Doesn't really.
It does. It takes a long time to air fry chips. So chips are kind of hard work. You remember that time we made chips on the show, right?
Yeah.
That was
episode 2.
Yeah, there was. We'll do a tag to that. But that was one of those situations where we had to make chips, and it could have gone either way. Luckily, I didn't know. Like for a minute there, we thought we were fucked. We thought we were in big
that was
trouble.
horrible.
But we got there in the end, and the chips actually, even though they look a little bit weird, they were kind of like a rusty. You know what I mean? They were still crispy, and they still stayed together, and they were quite nice. They were fluffy and everything.
Yeah,
they were very surprising. And I think
just saved in the nick of time.
Saved by the paprika. I think the paprika was holding it together because you put that on, man.
Yeah,
it was good. But,
oh, geez, that's funny.
And the funny part about that whole thing was, we wanted to make that. I think we talked about this in the first episode, but in making that series, we kind of touched on a few things about like, even though we're a couple of idiots, we could still make a reasonably good meal, reasonably quick as well.
Yep.
And that's the thing I think, about the fast food, the McDonald's and stuff. People get that stuff because it's cheap and because it's fast. But when you look at it, it's not cheap. If you go and spend $7 on like a burger meal, it's more like $13 or $14 on a burger
meal.
Yeah, burger meal, bloody meal deal, MIWDIW, get a meal deal. If you go and spend that much, you could spend the same amount at Audi's.
Audi's.
If you're watching
friend of the podcast.
If you're watching Audi's, just hook us up, boys. We want to, we've made the switch.
You make the switch too.
You can make the switch too. I mean, that's not a registered trademark.
Switch to Audi's.
Switch to Audi's. So if you could spend $15 at a supermarket, whether it be a Coles or Woolworths or an Aldi or an IGA or something like that, probably not IGA, they're a little bit expensive. So I find that anyway.
Yeah, independent grocers. Yeah.
But if you were to spend that money at the supermarket, you could eat for 3 fucking days. Like you could eat dinner, at least a dinner meal for 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not really cheaper to do that. I mean, some of the stuff we were cooking, we were buying primo $4 ingredients though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can do it cheaper again.
But like the fast food it's it's all about the convenience of it.
100%.
But it'll fucking slow you down.
It'll definitely slow you down in more ways than you think, because the amount of sugar and salt that is in those things, it really fucks with your system.
Yeah, it does. You feel it when you eat it.
Oh yeah, and like that was the part, like back on that ribwich, whatever it's called, the McRib.
Yeah.
Like that fucked me. That fucked me hard. Like,
Yeah.
and that was I had been on a health kick and hadn't actually had any sugar whatsoever.
Oh well, yeah, that would.
And then I hit that, and I think that was part of it. I was shaking and I had the sweats. I actually was sweating.
So it was a bit like the
It
Rib
was,
Witch episode.
yeah, and I was cold and pale, and like it was just not a good time. But like,
Jesus. That's all right.
but cooking it's easy. It's very easy to cook, and like I think in that short series, even though we were fucking around and having a good time,
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to understand that cooking doesn't actually have to be that hard. It doesn't have to take that long. I made a bolognese tonight, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And I've got
Gordon Ramsay would be watching us going, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
But-
exactly. But he knows if you were Gordon,
Yeah.
if you are, he knows we're fucking about. So
Yeah.
you know, like the tag. I think there's a comedy tag on the actual thing. So I think people would get the gag. But
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, like one of the other things that I had down to talk about,
Yeah.
in conjunction with that stuff, is about how people learn now, and it's an interesting one that a lot of people don't really think that they can do stuff because they have to learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're held back because it's like, I got to learn it before I can do it.
But do you? I mean, if you just shut up and do it.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know what we were going to do before we started doing that stuff. We shut the fuck up and did it, and we got 6 episodes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like,
We didn't have to learn anything.
and like when you think about cooking, right? What is it? It's just heating some stuff up.
It is, yeah.
Cut it, heat it up. That's cooking 101. Sorry, all the trained chefs out there. All you do is cut and heat.
Exactly.
You bloody bastards.
Yeah.
You scammy bloody poo bastards.
Pathetic,
Disgusting.
if anything. Yeah, yeah.
Never fuck with the people who serve you your food.
Yeah. We can't go to any restaurant.
We won't say that. We're never allowed in a restaurant again.
Yeah, there's some good food out there though. Like, you know, when you've got like a good chef in the kitchen when you're at a restaurant, and you're just like, damn, what in the fuck? That's good, and it's good every time I come to this place.
Which place are we talking about here? Are we allowed to say, or do you want to?
No, I just mean in
Oh,
general,
just in general.
when that happens.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite place to eat at, or?
No,
I mean, I know you go to a certain Chinese restaurant quite a bit.
there's a Chinese restaurant in my local town, in Bendigo, and yeah, I don't know if we should say. I mean, I'd like to try and milk them for a bit of money.
Yeah, let's milk them for some cash. They know who they are. They've seen you in there. They've seen you there. They've
We're
seen you with your
VIPs.
bloody mates.
We are VIPs.
Yeah. So if you know who you are,
You know you
bloody
are.
bloody bastards.
Yeah.
So,
There's
but
that
what's so
lovely
good about
seafood
it?
rice.
Is that seafood rice? Is that what's so good?
Yeah, it's a tofu. It's a dish that sort of my friend invented there. Asked them if they could have this, and this.
Is this your friend who you go there with?
Yeah,
He invented the dish.
pretty much.
Does
Like he
he-
asked him, he said, I want this, and this. I don't want this, and I don't want that. You can make that. And they sort of invented this dish on the fly, and
It's a menu item.
now it's a menu item.
Wow.
But it's a secret menu item. When we come in after a training session, after a jiu-jitsu class, we walk in there and they're just like, two of the same. And you're like, yep.
You got a huge. You got a place where you can go and I'll have the huge, mate.
Yeah, that's right. They just
Yeah.
know. Like, and we sit wherever we want. Other people, they direct them to a table,
Yeah.
but we just go, that one, I want to sit there. And yeah, we run the place a little bit.
You got the mafia stuff.
it's
I know you
a-
come from a fighting class.
Yeah, but we're both no good.
They don't know that.
They don't know that. So we sit down, and the dish itself is so good because it's basically a special fried rice, but without the pork because we don't eat that. Remove all meat apart from the little shrimps that you get in special fried rice.
Oh, see,
And
that's
add
the
some
one
tofu.
thing I'd be taking out because I can't do seafood. But
Yeah, but we need to keep that in there.
Yeah.
And then you get crispy tofu. in
yeah,
that, and
I
then
could do some crispy tofu.
dump some chili oil on top of that.
Oh, chili oil. Is it hot or is it just a flavour?
It's so if you put accidentally just like a little too much on it and don't mix it in properly and you have a lump of it,
Yeah.
it'll ruin your day.
Oh, wow.
They make a fiery chili oil at this restaurant, and also along with that we get a pot of green tea, Chinese tea,
Yeah.
and it's just lovely accompaniment to the hot spicy chili.
Yeah.
just a great dish all around. And they know. They give us a good serving, VIP treatment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love me some Chinese food, and I've made a discovery very recently that has really changed the game for me because love dumplings, love them.
Yeah.
Go and I get a 10 pack of chicken dumplings, 10 pack of veggie dumplings fried.
Okay.
And I was at, you know where I'm going to say, I was at the supermarket the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I found this pack of 30 dumplings for $7.
Well, there you go.
And
I've had those ones.
Oh, mate.
Vegetable dumplings.
Mate. Let me tell you about them. I mean, you already know about them. But like, so it was a quick meal because they take not like 10 minutes to cook.
Yep.
You frozen, you chuck them in, you pan fry them in a little bit of oil until they go to the colour you want. And then you just chuck a lid on and steam them for another couple of minutes on medium while you're waiting for them to cook. And in that time,
Right.
I grabbed it's a little bit more expensive than, doing it yourself. But instead of, if you don't have the time to whip up some fried rice, just grab a bag of Uncle Ben's and microwave it for 90 seconds.
Bag of Uncle Ben's.
Yeah, you use Uncle Ben's, just like instant rice. You just crush it up in the bag and put it in.
Has it got vegetables and shit in it?
Yeah, it's just special fried rice. You get Mexican fried rice as well. I used to make paella out of the Mexican rice. Yeah.
Is there? I haven't had this. Old Uncle Ben's.
Give it a shot, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Every time I see it, I think of Spider-Man.
Yeah, Uncle Ben. When you say it,
I just feel sad, so I have to buy it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saving Uncle Ben.
Eating fried rice.
That's right.
Yeah. So what is it? What's in the special fried rice?
It's just, I think there's a bit of egg, like it's all cooked, a bit of egg and a couple of veggies. It just looks like brown rice, but there's stuff actually in there, and it's a little bit of flavour. And it's just really good. You smash that down with a couple of dumplings, pour some soy sauce in there, pour a bit of chili sauce in there.
Yep.
Just then you got instant takeaway. It cuts the price of your takeaway down. It could be like $9 for 10 dumplings, and everyone's like, "That's pretty good." No, $7 for 30 dumplings, boys. Let's get around it. Let's get around that. Save some cash, and it's easy to cook. And that's this. We're talking about cooking junk here. You know what I mean? This is fast food. This is takeaway. This isn't good
dumplings.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Frozen stuff.
Cooking like actual. Have you ever slow cooked any meat?
I have in the past, I believe, yeah.
You don't have to do anything. It's basically you
throw it all in.
You throw it in and turn it on, and then you go home or you go to bed, and then you come back from work and you go, oh, we'll just cut the meat.
It's ready.
It's ready. You don't have to do anything. And people like always, and that thing is that is a good share meal, like a good family roast sort of thing.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
it's one of those things that you can have for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like cooking is not hard. It can be easy. It can be a good time. And if you want to learn how to do that stuff, you should. Just get off your ass and do it. You don't have to, you could save so much cash. Sorry, I'm just hell-bent on just eating good, eating food and saving cash. It's just what I like. But
yeah, you like eating food and saving cash.
Yeah, it's a good time. I enjoy all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. It's good. I like it.
We had a bit of a time yesterday where we watched a certain event.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't want to date this podcast by saying when it is, but
but we have
so that's right. We watched the McGregor Cowboy fight.
By the time this goes out, everyone will know about it.
We'll know the result. But thoughts?
Pretty good. I liked it. I did expect Conor McGregor to beat Cowboy, but I don't think anyone expected him to do it in that fashion.
Absolutely.
I mean, come in, charged at him, threw it looked like an emotional right hand right off out of the gate. I think it was a right or a left. Either way, he missed. Cowboy slipped under it, and the force that he was traveling with, like the hip connected with Cowboy, and it looked like that stunned him a bit. I was like, "Fuck, I'm hit." And then they clinched, and never seen Conor do this, but the shoulder strikes and broke his nose. It looked like
his shoulders.
Yeah, solid. Like he changed levels and just drove up into his.
When that
face
happened, because I was in the car
times.
at this point, and I was going, "Whoa, oh!"
Yeah, he smashed him,
freaking out.
And you could tell the Cowboy was rocked when he ate that, like the second shoulder strike. He went bang and he sort of froze
because he didn't know what to do. I would imagine he's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
It all happened so quick.
Yeah. Well, it happened in 40 seconds.
And then he throws a head kick. They break the clinch, and then he throws a head kick at. It's like a slow head kick. And Conor, he checks it and then just comes back with one of his own and chins him. Lands a big left hand, and that's it.
Gets him on the ground, lays a few down, and then they called it 40 seconds in.
Good.
Amazing.
Result. Yeah, and he looked good. He looked pretty solid.
They were both exactly 170 pounds.
Yeah.
and they both looked like spot on. But McGregor, I mean, what was he here in this picture behind us?
He would have been featherweight then, so 145.
145, but he looked like with that extra, 30 kilo, 50 kilo, what is it? 30, I'm mathematically retarded. Extra 30 pounds on.
Yep.
Looked great. Obviously,
He would have
throw
been
it around.
He would have been 172, but they reckon that Cowboy would have been about. They kind of said that he was in the sauna since Wednesday, so he would have probably been about 180 or something, 185.
Fasted off for the thing.
And then ate the food back and drank the water, put the weight back on before the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
So he would have been in the octagon heavier than Connor.
Yeah, but there's a weigh-in was a few nights before, wasn't it?
It's one night before.
Yeah. But it was amazing. I remember, like, I didn't know how it was going to go because I remember the Khabib one, and I was just like, I remember when he tapped out, and I was a little bit disappointed. And I know you were in your flag and everything. I think I've got a video of that. If I can find it, we'll put it in.
Yeah, put it in.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
But I like Khabib though. He's a fucking animal.
He's what a beast. But like,
great to watch.
I remember, I think I said in the group chat with you guys, I'm like, what do you reckon? I reckon Cowboy with a kick to the side of the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Connor will go down because I just wanted to plant that doubt there so that if he won, it would make it sweeter for you guys. Because I just want to, you know what I mean? I kind of like, I don't care who won or lost because I don't know anything about Cowboy. And McGregor is great, obviously. Like you say, apparently, this is Cody's quote, not mine. That McGregor is the Bruce Lee of his sport.
Yeah, that's that's
a little more confident than Bruce Lee, perhaps in public. But
yeah.
But
he's pretty. He seems like he's a bit of a. What would you say? He's definitely a unique fighter.
Yeah,
but he's also a bit of a forward thinker. Like he comes up with new ideas and new ways to move and train and stuff. So he's definitely an interesting fighter. But I think I'm not sure Cowboy should. Like I said when they first started talking about them two fighting, I was like, I just don't think that. Cowboy's just the class below those guys, those elite. And he's been there forever and he's broken heaps of records and he's a great fighter. But just that class. There's levels to this shit. And
is that why the pay gap was so different between the two?
Well, I think Connor's deals that he makes, he's definitely in the driver's seat when it comes to.
Absolutely.
Well, we need him to fight. We've got to give him the money.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did he not ask for $3 million for showing up?
So I read, but and he's estimating that he'll walk away from this fight 80 million.
80
profit.
million.
That's what
That's from winnings in the sport or from promotional.
Just everything. I'd imagine endorsement and stuff like that.
Because Cowboy got 400. I believe someone will have to correct me at some point too. But I believe Cowboy was going to get 400 just for coming to the gig.
Yeah.
So
200, 400, yeah.
200. Was it 200 for showing up and 200 for winning?
Yeah, I think so.
But he didn't win. But
he'll end up with more as well, though.
That's a house in Broken Hill.
You'd say he'd get $1 million at least, just from fighting Conor McGregor. You're going to have a pretty good payday.
What a 40-second, imagine making $1 million in less than a minute.
Conor got one of the fight of the nights too, so that's some money there, bit of extra money.
Yeah, it was amazing. But it's just. Yeah, I was driving to Melbourne at that point with a friend of mine, and he didn't say it, but I kind of got the idea of what do you I don't think you were particularly interested in this. Why do you want to watch this? And he never said that, but I kind of answered the question for him without him having to ask. And I was kind of like, I like to watch these things like the Mayweather McGregor fight,
spectacle,
Tyson, mundane fights. I like to watch those because it's some of the biggest sporting events in history have been boxing matches.
Yeah. Yeah,
and historic. I don't know why, but they have. And sometimes you want to watch them and you're like, I was there. I remember when it happened.
Yeah, it's like you can be a part of history watching the great fights like that. And I think Conor and Khabib too, when that happens.
Is it happening?
They probably will. It's got to, I think. That'll be that'll go down in history as one of the greatest fights ever. And they reckon it'll smash pay-per-view records. That's estimated at the minute. I could see how it would too. Especially if they do it like at a football stadium or something like that and fill it out.
What weights were they at that point?
Like when they fought?
Yeah.
Lightweight.
So 140?
150.
150. So there's 140 as feather.
145, 155.
I didn't know that there was flyweight, which is lower again.
Yeah.
What's the weight?
135, I believe.
Out of control.
That's small, yeah.
So what was the biggest pay-per-view thing? Was that the last...
In UFC history?
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest one was the Khabib Conor.
Yeah.
But Mayweather and Conor was bigger again than that. I believe
That was
massive.
the second largest. I think that I heard them saying that it was the second largest watched fight in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Second biggest watched sporting event, second most watched sporting event in history, or something like that.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. Imagine that.
Yeah,
like
the buzz
worth
that
more
people.
than that's worth more than a belt.
Conor McGregor has 7 of the top 10 pay-per-view records
Crazy.
in history, I think. So
Pay-per-view. Now, pay-per-view is an interesting one because, you know, a lot of people will try to stream a match illegally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny sometimes to me because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, what we did, you know, I didn't end up being there, so I wasn't part of this, but, well, I was there for the first bit, but then disappeared. But when you have like one of those things, people will sit around the TV and it'll be freezing every 10 seconds. They're getting upset. Your mate's like, "Well, what's this, a Ugandan server?" And I'm like, "Well, if it was, it'd be running faster." Hey.
Yeah.
And but like at the end of the day, what did we do? We had like 6 guys there, 4 or 5 guys there, whatever it was, and they paid like $10 each.
Yeah, and we got the pay-per-view.
And you got the pay-per-view. Yeah.
Avoid the constant freezing.
But that's the thing is that I suppose, you know, realistically, that's where they make their cash from guys like us, even though it's only a couple of bucks each to us. But for a couple of beers and and some chips, you know what I mean? It's not really a bad...
It's a good day.
Not a bad afternoon.
It's a good day, yeah, absolutely.
What do you think is going to happen with Conor after this?
My prediction would be that he'd go on and fight in the lightweight division for the belt.
Do you reckon he'd go back down and wait?
Yeah, he would.
It's not a far drop.
Either that or he'll fight Jorge Masvidal. But I think that the way that the UFC are looking to seems to be aiming him is for that lightweight title.
Yeah, I did
Either
see Masvidal.
winner or of Ferguson, which I think he can. I reckon Tony can possibly beat Khabib, and so yeah, whoever wins out of that, then they'll have a title fight, and that'll be massive.
I saw Masvidal was there. I saw the little interview with him just before the fight.
Yeah.
And he said, they asked him, any predictions for the fight? And he goes, violence.
Yeah, violent. Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's obviously, he didn't want to say too much. And what about McGregor's post-match speech? You know, even the guy at the table can get it. What did he say?
The guy with the camera.
No, he's talking about the commentator, you know, the big ranger. What's his name? He's a fighter, isn't he?
Oh, Paul Felder.
Yeah. Is that him?
Oh, what did he say?
He said something about he's like, anybody wants a piece anytime, anywhere. You know, he can get it. You can get it. Even the guy at the bench can get it. And he's talking about him, and he's
Paul
like,
Felder, yeah.
and he's like, well, look, I've got to fight this guy in a couple of weeks. So after that, you can come and get whatever you want.
They could fight too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'll kick your fucking ass, you piece of shit. He's like, I'm a commentator today, so I'm going to be professional. But fuck you, buddy. I'll get you.
Yeah, it was good. He's tough. He's tough.
And a good commentator too. I didn't know he was a fighter because he's such a good commentator.
Yeah, he's good. And he's only been doing the main events now for like a year. But he started off doing like the ESPN, like the fight nights.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he's good. And he's a great fighter to watch, like that Irish spirit.
But I think
Boston.
like it's an interesting thing to be able to be a fighter and to be a commentator, because a lot of the times, you know, people think, well, fighters are just fucking, but they're not. They're smart motherfuckers, like we talked about before in a previous episode.
You want fighters to be doing everything. You want them to be judging.
Yeah.
You want them to be commentating.
Well, look, you can't fight forever.
No, that's right. And they should go into judging, I think.
Instead
of these like panel of fucking morons that, like, you know, they have so many mistakes and errors in that. For like that's an issue for a sport like that. Even referees maybe should be ex-fighters as well.
Absolutely. So they know what they're doing.
Pure understanding.
And they can, if shit gets out of hand, they can push motherfuckers away.
Yeah, that too.
But like McGregor
Most
retired.
of them probably can fight. I'd imagine.
I'm
Some of
sure,
them don't look like they can though.
But like some of the refs are bigger physically, like not because they're muscly, but they're bigger than the lightweight, so they can throw them around anyway.
Big John McCarthy, he doesn't ref anymore, but he was massive. He's like 7 foot or 6'11" or something like that, and just a monster, ex-copper, and NYPD or LAPD.
Ex-copper.
Yeah, tough.
I love Bruce, what's his last name?
Buffer.
Bruce Buffer, the famous man. You can't say the words, the let's GRTR, because you get a copyright infringement from him.
From his brother.
Yeah, that's right. And I wasn't reading actually when I was driving. A friend of mine who is a very big wrestling fan was talking about how when he did the WWE back in the day, he wouldn't say that. They wouldn't get him to say that because he was going to charge extra to say it.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of
in
let's
a position
get,
where he could.
yeah, instead of let's get ready to rumble, he'd be like, let's get it on or something like that.
Okay. Just get everyone all amped up by the word let's.
Yeah.
And then
Because if you say let's get ready to rumble, but you go let's get ready to rumble, like the way that he says it, that's copyrighted.
It's copyrighted.
It's like when
intellectual property of the him.
When Donald Trump tried to do You're Fired, and it's like, you can't say that. You're not the Jetsons, motherfucker. Jetson, you're fired.
You're fired.
Bloody meet George Jetson, his boy Elroy. Jane, his wife.
Yeah, the old Jetsons. The old
Daughter
Jetsons.
Susie's, was it? Sorry, Daughter Susie?
Was the Jetsons any good?
Jetsons was fucking cooked, man.
Flintstones was good.
Flintstones was the same shit. It was the Stone Age, and then it was the future. It was the same motherfucking family.
The same family, was it?
Well, you know what I mean. Like maybe the lineage is like, they were related somehow, but like
maybe, yeah.
Hanna-Barbera made those motherfuckers, and that was just basically like, oh, I got an idea for a family, and they're the Stone Age. Hey, I got an idea for a family, and they're from the future. It's like, oh, I see what you're doing here.
I've got an idea for a bear in the woods. Yeah, like they always had the same voice actors.
Yeah, they did.
The characters. And
yeah, well, they're a reasonably small company, I suppose. Really, like
they had so many
maybe
cartoons though.
Yeah, maybe 10, 20 actors or something. And
Yogi,
yeah,
Quick Draw, McGraw.
They did.
Motherfuckers.
Who do they do? They did that Wacky Races.
Okay.
And that dog that would go.
Yeah, Muttley.
Muttley, yeah.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of that shit.
There was crazy stuff like those wacky wheels or wacky races or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was this trippy shit. Did they do Scooby?
Yeah, and Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Hanna-Barbera.
Is
it?
I don't know. I'm confused now. Scooby Doo though, man, like
no, I don't think it is. Is it?
I don't know. We'll
find out.
We'll find this out. But like Scooby Doo,
there's probably people pulling their hair, going, "Yes, it is."
Scooby Doo highly inappropriate.
Yeah,
this stoned dude who can talk to a dog, and I know other people have picked up on this too. But like Scooby snacks, come on, you know what I mean?
Scooby can't talk to any of the other ones, can he?
No, he can only talk to Shaggy.
Yeah,
from what I can imagine.
Yeah. Shaggy's the only one who can understand him, yeah.
And like those meddling
Is that right
kids,
or not? Am I fucking making that up as well?
I think that's accurate, but I don't think he actually talks to anybody else. I don't know. My memory of it is vague.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
But man, I used to love that fucking show. It was awesome. But like when you really think about it, it's this stoner guy and his dog, and like his people who should not be hanging around with him. Those kind of people, some preppy jock and some like sorority girl doesn't hang around with the nerdy glasses, short hair. What are they called when you internal people? What's the opposite of introvert? Yeah, an introvert. No one hangs around with a stoner and his dog. Like, that was the demographics at the time?
Yeah, so they're all just their white diversity.
They're all white kids, but they're like, oh, we got a stoner, we got a nerd, we got a sorority girl, we got a jock.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That was their idea of diversity. It wasn't like fucking Captain Planet. You know what I mean? Which was cooked as well.
So many of those old shows were cooked. Do you ever go back and watch like Peanuts, the old Charlie Brown, and listen to how depressed that guy was?
It was fucked. Like that 5-cent psychologist.
Yeah. Some of the shit Charlie Brown used to say would just be morbid as fuck, but you wouldn't pick it. You're just like, oh, he's sad as a kid. But listen to the shit he says now. It's just like, oh, there's something. Yeah, whoever's writing this shit.
Charles Schultz was fucking depressed or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he must. Well, I think he was. I think it came out.
He had to have been.
Did he kill himself or something? I don't know.
No, he died pretty old. I'm pretty sure.
Got to stop saying shit.
Just stop telling people. Who's that? Killed himself. Yeah, no. Oh, he didn't. Well, he fucking should have.
Yeah, that was a great show.
But like, I loved how the adults talked.
Yeah, it's creative. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Because everything they said didn't matter.
Yeah. It's just like, it was like a trumpet, a trombone, wasn't it?
That's all you can really gather from that is that what the parents saying didn't matter.
It was about the kids, this show.
It was good.
Other shows, like, you've got to watch, like some shows, you're just like, there was definitely some sort of acid involved in the writing of the show. Like Teletubbies couldn't come off the top of a sober person's head. Like the sun, it starts off with a sun that's got a baby's face on it, and it's a creepy baby.
And it's always laughing and shit.
Yeah, everyone that's seen that show would still have dreams about that sun. Every now and then, that giggle.
Their faces, the Teletubbies' faces, though, they're scary.
Yeah, if they pop up in your dreams too, or if you're on a mushroom trip and that pops up, that'll scare the fuck out of you.
Do they have beaks? Do Teletubbies have beaks?
No, they just had little button noses.
But do they have what was their lips like? Do they have like a beak? I can't do it. Like not a real, not like a bird beak, but like just a little bit of a pointy front lip, like a little beaky lip.
I think they had like a like a typical big smile
really?
thing with the.
Oh, that's
I have
worse.
to find out.
That's worse.
And it was just like a plastic face that never changed.
Yeah.
You know, and
Remember all that shit about like
they had televisions on their gut.
Yeah, but why? Like,
And one of them there was gay.
That's what I was going to say. There was all this hoo-ha about one of them being gay, and it's like, how do you know? What? Because it's the purple one.
It got. I think it had a handbag. No, didn't they do? There was one where someone's tongue was really long, and it would bend over and lick the purple one's, the gay one's ass, and he would like it, or she would like it, or whatever it was. There's this video of it that's circulating now.
Fucking hell. This is going deeper, if pardon the pun, than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I don't know. Like he had a handbag.
I'm going to write this down. We need to find this.
Yeah, we'll do some research, and for the next episode we'll discuss. But yeah, one was gay.
Bum lick.
We got to find the bum lick video of the Teletubby. It's really funny. Go on YouTube. I reckon if you Google ass lick,
we'll do it. We'll do it for you, so you don't have to. We'll provide you with a hot link so your search history doesn't get fucked.
Yeah,
but that's fucking filth. I mean, do you remember Bob the Builder?
Yeah,
I remember I was in high school when Bob the Builder came out and SpongeBob and all that kind of stuff. But I remember this particular controversy about Bob the Builder swearing. And I was like,
on the job, like
in the show for kids,
right? I do remember some sort of controversy.
I watched this episode, and I'm not sure if it had been dubbed badly or if it actually had aired, because it looked like one of those, those like fake, those shreds videos where they overdub it and make it look real.
Yeah,
it was like that, except Bob the Builder climbs up a ladder and he drops his tools. Ooh, and he goes back down. He hops up. And then he's falling off the ladder. Oh, fucking hell! And he's like saying, "Oh, fucking hell! Drop me fucking tools! Oh shit!" Just stuff like that.
He wouldn't have done that. There has to be some sort of.
It had to have been overdubbed because I saw it and I'm like, "Oh wow, that's hilarious!" I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that's in the show," but I can't find it. Like I haven't looked for it for years, but I haven't been able to find Bob the Builder. That wasn't a joke.
Like people just would go, "Oh, another Bob the Builder episode."
Yeah,
it's been.
It'll make us some money. Yeah.
Don't even watch it.
Oh, fucking hell. Drop me fucking tools here. Postman Pat's a cunt. Yeah. Fucking hell. Oh, I haven't got the fucking order in. What was your favourite kids show when you were a kid?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I always liked like Rugrats and the Nickelodeon.
That was cool.
Hey Arnold. All those. SpongeBob was good. SpongeBob always had like a good vein of comedy running through each episode.
It was modern Ren and Stimpy, I felt. I didn't watch it, but
yeah, some of the I liked some of the shit. I always liked how funny it was. Like in SpongeBob, they'd like say SpongeBob was out of the water or something and he dried out, and then they'd cut to like a a real. Not a cartoon anymore, like a sponge, like a dish sponge.
Oh, one of the guys had to go out and film that right? Like, so one of the animators like, fuck, we need a shot. Film it.
And yeah, he would be like, in the cartoon, he'd be like, I need to get water or whatever. And then they would just cut to him. He's now a fucking actual sponge, dish sponge.
That's fucking hilarious. I love that. That's cooked. And like, who was Ron Perlman? He did the voice for the crab, I think.
Is that right?
Ron Perlman did the voice for one of the characters in that, because I remember watching this like when the movie came out. It was like Ron Perlman. I'm like, what the fuck's Hellboy doing in SpongeBob thing? I'm like,
he's
going like this, sir.
Yeah, that would make it's a little bit Ron Perlman-y.
But like, I didn't know that he did the promos for the UFC as well.
He does a lot of the cold intro, the cold openers for him. Yeah,
you were telling me that's Ron Perlman. I'm like, hang on, that's Hellboy. And he's like, welcome to UFC 246, and I was like, holy shit, that is Ron Perlman. Amazing.
Yeah, he's
what a voice.
Yeah, he always adds some sort of emotion to those promos where it's just like, and it all happens tonight, and it's like, oh, his voice is so deep and American, nice.
I have a Ron Perlman fun fact.
What is it? He's
Ron
real big
Perlman's no. We all know that. That's a true one. Ron Perlman.
He looks like he's CGI in real life.
He looks like a big fake motherfucker. Ron Perlman's brother-in-law, a big grey fucking CG gray character.
Big mouth.
Ron Perlman's brother-in-law is named Danny DeVito.
Really?
Yeah, Ron Perlman's sister is Rhea Perlman.
Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, Rhea is her name. She was on Taxi back in the day with Danny DeVito. And
right.
I feel like I should fact check this because it's going to be one of those things that I feel like I've known for a million years, and it's like that's not true. They've just got the similar last name.
There could be a heap of that in this episode.
Yes, it should be called Broden Cody. Wrong state.
Yeah.
Fact check.
We need a fact check.
That's it. We should get a fact check. I don't know. We'll roll with it. Let people think whatever they want.
Yeah. Leave in the comments. Whatever you
Yeah, fuck with our facts in the comments and be like, no, actually, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah, we want that.
We'll take it. Or any interaction we can get it. We'll take it.
Exactly.
But so last night I went to Melbourne to see Louis Theroux.
Yep.
Live on stage. I had no idea Louis Theroux was going to be in Melbourne.
I wouldn't have known.
I didn't know. And a friend of mine calls me up a couple of days ago and he goes, hey, do you want to go see? He goes, in true fashion, I've booked some tickets and my wife is unable to go.
Yep.
Do you want to come with me? And I'm like, yeah. What? And it's like Louis Theroux. And I'm like, didn't know Louis Theroux was coming to Melbourne. And apparently he's promoting this book called Gotta Get Through This. Get it? A, because his name is Theroux and it sounds like through. And apparently this is a funny part that he told in the story. Sometimes he gets a bit pissed and goes and Googles himself.
Right.
So he jumps on Google and he types in his name, and apparently he's become a bit of a pop culture icon with millennials and stuff like that, and they've all made mugs of him and T-shirts.
Yeah, that's true,
and
isn't it? Like he's sort of come out of the
woodwork
again.
Thanks to things like Netflix and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
YouTube, people are hosting his stuff. And
because his original documentaries would have started 90s, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 95, 96. He first worked for Michael Moore. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But this, what happened was they were selling T-shirts with his face on it, and that said, "Gotta get through this."
Through this, yeah.
And he, like, obviously wasn't making any cash off of that, so he fucking took that and used it for his book name and kind of like as a bit of a fuck you to that.
Yeah.
And it was very funny. But so just to give you a quick rundown of the show, basically Julia Zemiro was the host of the show, and I thought it would have been someone like John Safran or something like that because they're friends and they are in a similar field. But Julia Zemiro was the host. Probably she's better known than John in that industry, and she also, I believe, did an episode of some kind of show on ABC with Louis, where he went back to the UK and looked at his family and all that kind of stuff. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't kept up with things that happen on television. And they talked about his career. The first, it was in two parts. Mm-hmm. The first half was Louis' career, and he didn't really talk a whole lot about it, but I remember just watching a thing about Louis' career, where he started off as a journalist, like a paper journalist, and then moved into being on television for Michael Moore on like a little segment where he'd do investigative journalism, and he'd go around and look at weirdos and fringe dwellers, all these kind of crazy people that believed in aliens and shit like that. Okay. And he's like, oh, I can do that for a year, and then I'll go back to doing print. And he just kept getting asked to come back, and he's just some awkward dude on TV.
Do more. Yeah, he's pretty. I don't know. He's something about like he's easy to watch.
Yeah, he's very easy to watch because
and he's staunch.
He's kind of just normal. He's not like a big rock. Well, I suppose he's got a reasonable rock jaw, but he's not like a big, super attractive big smile, perfect hair guy. He's just some fucking weedy nerd. Yeah, and he just asks uncomfortable questions. Which is
he does his journalism 101, isn't it?
Yeah, and he did a segment where he walks around the audience and just goes, Journalism 101, ask people questions. Yeah. He picked a few people out that he made eye contact with. And this one particular guy stood out. He goes, oh, you're a little red in the face, aren't you? Why don't you stand up? And he goes, why are you red in the face? He goes, because I just had 5 Smirnoffs. And this guy, and he's got a cup, he's smashing a Smirnoff, and then while Louis is talking to him, he pulls his phone out and takes a couple of photos of him with a drink in his hand.
Oh, really?
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was just in front of 5,000 people. This guy just had the balls. And he goes, all right, so what's your name? Cam? Okay, Cam. Well, now what do you do? And he goes, I'm in politics. And he goes, very funny, try again. And he goes, I'm unemployed. And he goes, very funny, try again. And he goes, no, I actually represent the people of Moonee Valley. And he was actually the member for Moonee Valley. We'll have to look this guy up.
He was a politician.
He was. He was fucking hilarious. Oh, and he goes, I don't believe it. You actually represent the people of Moonee Valley. And he puts his hand on his shoulder and he goes, what do you mean you don't believe it? Your Prime Minister's fucking Boris Johnson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he dropped an F-bomb in front of all these people and he goes, so you represent the Moonee Valley people? And he goes, well, not on a fucking Sunday night, mate. I'm getting shit-faced. It was a ripper. And so he went around, he did a little bit of that and asked some questions to the people. And it was kind of a scripted show, and I believe last night was the last night of the tour.
Oh, that's good.
Very interesting thing. You seen much of Louis? You've seen all of Louis, any of much of?
Not no, only a couple.
What have you seen?
The one about the sex offenders,
Mm-hmm.
which that I found that really good.
The prison.
Yeah, where he goes to that village of the damned.
Yeah.
sort of,
And what about the sex offenders? Do you find good? The fact that they were in jail, or
yeah, it's like I'd find that sort of stuff interesting.
Yeah.
Too.
Professional curiosity, would you say at the time, or
Maybe, but more so like it's not a Louis documentary, but it's a documentary. It's sort of I think it was an independent film made by some guys. And one of these guys was a British guy, and he was a pedophile hunter, and he would catfish, pose online as a underage person, and then invite people to his house.
Yeah.
And they would come in, and he'd have a full camera crew.
Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator?
No,
Is that it, or is that
Stinson Hunter?
the New York guy?
That's the American.
And he does voices.
Yeah, that's a different one.
Yeah.
I haven't watched much of that, but this one was. They made a. It was a. The reason I like this documentary itself is because it's like I've always wanted to make a documentary, and they've shot it on a Canon camera with a 50mm lens.
Love it.
And they've made it themselves, and it's just a real compelling doco where it just shows how dangerous online, if children are online and stuff, and that I was intrigued by that, and just watching. It wasn't just a doco. He did a lot of like a series on YouTube where he'd just bust people, and I love watching them get caught for some reason. It's just entertaining.
Oh man,
and entertaining,
and how they react to it's like 100% guilty, and they try to play it off like, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I don't know anything about this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and
why would I do that?
To me, that's just
Why would
so
I do
fucking
that?
funny
Yeah.
to watch. And
just like I know there's one guy who
it's
lays.
like, no, I'm not. I'm here to meet a friend.
Yeah.
And
What, a 15-year-old fucking
just
little
unravel.
boy?
Yeah, it's like no, he didn't mention his age. And
Yeah. Yes, he did. I've got these here because I was pretending to be him. Technically, that's entrapment, and the guy never really did anything wrong. No, but he did.
yeah.
But the thing is that the intent is, and who else has he done it to? You know what I mean? How long has he been doing it?
Is it entrapment though?
No.
I don't know.
Fuck no. I'd do it all day long if I knew I was going to get pedophiles off the street. Fuck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
That's
think that's why they
crazy.
do it. They're doing it for the right reason, but obviously some people do it and they're vigilante justice and
Yeah.
they fuck up cases that are ongoing and stuff
Yeah,
like
that's hardcore stuff.
So
You gotta-
these guys, I like them particularly because they didn't do anything. They said there's not going to be any hostilities. I'm just going to ask you questions. We're
Yeah.
filming in a public place,
Yeah.
or when in other circumstances they'd come over to his house, and
Yeah.
he always asks them, you can have a discussion with us, sit down on the couch,
Yeah.
and just films and having a civil discussion about
Wow.
why did you do this? What are you doing?
Does he get any results as far as, like...
He's had heaps of people put in jail, and
Yeah, but I mean, like, how about their behavior? Does it change? Like, do they actually have? Because the reason I asked
it's
is
hard. I don't know if you can change.
interesting.
I don't think you can.
Now, I think because when you're talking about violent sexual crime, I think that's very hard and one of those things that is probably a lot of the time those people aren't going to change and they're just going to find new ways to get away with their problem. But the reason I ask why I think this guy have any kind of behavioural changes in these people is because last night at the Louis Theroux thing, have you heard of Megan Phelps?
Megan Phelps.
Megan Phelps was the daughter of the people who ran the Westboro Baptist Church. They're the quote unquote God hates fags church.
Yeah.
Now she was like when they brought her out onto the stage, they showed videos of her standing at the front of these picket lines, arguing with people that they're going to hell because they're fag enablers, etc. All this horrible, hateful stuff.
Yeah.
And she comes out on the stage and she's like, I don't do any of that anymore. I talk against them and I hate them and I want behaviour to change. And now my job is to go around to people talking about bullies. And
Is that
how to
right? She was
overcome
there.
that.
Oh.
And they were like, well, how did you overcome this issue? And she said, when people would isolate us and tell us we were wrong and call us horrible names, it made us stronger. We wanted to do it more. But when somebody came to us, like they said, what was the tipping point when you started to decide you wanted to leave this family, leave this church?
Yep.
She goes, I got Twitter. And I was like, of all the things, the most destructive things in the world, this is the thing that saved her, right? She
Right.
got Twitter, and people knew who she was, and she was sprouting her hate and sprouting her shit. She was trying to take the church to the new millennium and put it in there.
Yeah.
And people started having reasonable arguments with her.
And like opening her eyes. That's crazy because it's people like that always have the blinkers on, so to speak. That's what they can't be. You can't remove their faith or their you can't correct them.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, they got tunnel vision. Yeah.
You just and like you said, this guy would sit down and have conversations on the couch with these people. But that's what I wondered: is does any of that get through? Rather than beating the fuck out of him for being a fucking sicko, which I believe should be done.
Yeah,
but like
his tactic was to get them to spill the beans.
Yeah,
every
right.
detail and film it, and then he'd put it all in an envelope, a
Send it
DVD,
off.
and hand it to the police
Here's a
station.
confession. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go.
Okay.
Obviously, they've got all the evidence there, so they'll go and raid the house.
Yeah, done.
Take the computers.
It's kind of like an all-in-one package, isn't it?
Yeah, they were very professional. They sealed it up in a yellow envelope and said, "That's for him. That's the other one.
Yeah,
that's the other one."
we'll keep a copy for us. We'll send one to the court. We'll send one
Exactly
to the police.
right.
We'll send one
Yeah,
to
that's
his
exactly
mum.
what they did.
Yeah.
You should check it out. It's on YouTube, the
We
documentary.
should do that.
if you're out
Yeah.
there.
Maybe we should try to find a link for that. What's that called?
Just called The Pedophile Hunter.
The Pedophile Hunter.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The guy, I think he battled a bit with his mental health.
Yeah.
He was in and out of jail as a young guy, but then this thing was his like keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feels like that's where he can find that he's doing something good in society.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's just a good documentary. I love a good documentary like that.
I love
Something
them too. I think they're my main choice of things to watch. Like
Yeah.
the antenna from my television's not in.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah,
Antenna. I always say antenna. My dad says antenna. It's antenna, and he's a radio guy. You should know this.
antenna.
Yeah, it's antenna. But anyway, that's unplugged from my television. But I remember back in the torrent days downloading Louis Theroux and Penn and Teller bullshit. I loved that show. It was like every day everyone was a mini documentary.
Yep.
And docos are great, man. Attenborough's, I love those ones. I love.
They're incredible.
Like, have you ever seen the Human Body documentary? Like they filmed it over 10 years.
No.
It's amazing. I should lend it to you. It's on DVD. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, lend it.
There's a
lend it.
literal cum shot, like well lit, artistically made, actual cum shot.
Nice. Yeah, lend it to me.
I'll
Yeah.
lend it to you. You'll love it.
Yeah, you've sold it to me.
Yeah. But no, and then at the end of the whole series, they go through a forest and there's about 400 people of all ages and they're all completely naked and they just go through this thing of like people come in all shapes and sizes. Life's just life. It's very interesting documentary. But I'd love to make one. And as you said, you'd like to make one too.
Yeah, that's my goal is to be a doco promo, make things.
I've got a plan of something we can do. I had this idea about 18 months ago and I was preparing for it and then I had a mental breakdown, so I didn't do it.
Yep.
But I think we could do it. Well, a little bit of outback New South Wales and a little bit of travelling around. We won't give too much away, but we should have a proper chat about that because that'd be a good time.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
If you'd like us to
Do
go into that.
Yeah, we could do a really cool documentary about a very interesting older bloke who's had a very big impact on music in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah. We could do that.
That could be lovely.
I reckon for now we should probably wrap that one up.
Yeah, and that's thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Hope you guys had a good time. We had a great time. Congratulations on episode 3, Cody.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Great work. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Don't you dare let go of my hand.